So I was raised here in the United States. My parents are from Pakistan. Actually, my mom was born in Indonesia. She is Pakistani, but she was in Indonesia because my grandfather, so her father, was a lifelong missionary in Indonesia. So he spent his whole life preaching Islam in Indonesia. And her mother, so now my grandmother, was born in Uganda because her father spent his whole life preaching Islam in Uganda. So I've come from a line of Muslim missionaries, and it's very, very important to my family to really preach Islam and to engage the Muslim lifestyle. My father and my mother came here because the United States is the land of opportunity. Our sect of Islam was highly persecuted by other sects. So Islam is not monolithic. It's not one big, everyone's Muslim, they're all the same. They're all very different. And our sect was persecuted by other sects. And so they came here to the United States for freedom, for opportunity, and for the chance to have a good life. That's how I prayed. First thing in the morning, I would pray a prayer in Arabic. Alhamdulillahilladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana wa alayhin nushur. Had no clue what it meant. But as I grew older, my mom taught me, Nabeel, this is why you recite this every day. This prayer means all praise be to God who gives me life, causes me to die, and will raise me up again. My father and my mother came here because the United States is the land of opportunity. Our sect of Islam was highly persecuted by other sects. So Islam is not monolithic. It's not one big, everyone's Muslim, they're all the same. They're all very different. And our sect was persecuted by other sects. And so they came here to the United States for freedom, for opportunity, and for the chance to have a good life. Pretty much the exact same reasons that your ancestors probably came here as well. My mom and my dad taught me that there is one God, Allah, and that God was, this version of God, this precise description of God was given by a man named Muhammad. Now Muhammad came 600 years after Jesus, and he came 600 years away from Jesus. So Muhammad is in Arabia, 7th century AD, and he preaches monotheism. Now that's a big deal, because at that time in Arabia, in Mecca, which was where Muhammad was preaching, polytheism was the source of commerce. Let me explain that to you. There in Mecca, there was a place called the Kaaba, and there were 360 gods around the Kaaba, idols around the Kaaba. People came from all over Arabia to worship at the Kaaba, and they would bring their materials with them, they'd bring their goods, and lots of trade would happen. And that was the economy of the city. And so for Muhammad to stand up in that milieu and say, no, there is one God, he faced a lot of potential oppression.
How would you respond to a new Muslim friend that seeks to build a bridge of commonality between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism?
That's a good point too, and this will tack on to the question that he just asked. Muslims do believe that Islam is the culmination of religion. So Muslims believe that Allah has sent Adam, that Allah has sent Noah, that Allah sent Moses, that Allah sent Joseph. All these names that you find in the Old Testament, you'll find them in the Quran. 24 prophets from the Old Testament, Islam subsumes their names into the Quran. And so Islam teaches that it's a culmination of religion. These people all came in order to give to their people certain portions of the truth, and then Muhammad comes as the final messenger in all of history, and he provides the final message, Islam. And so Muslims can build a bridge within their theology. It's appropriate to say that your God is my God. Your prophet I believe to be a prophet. They can do that, and they'll try to build these bridges of commonality. And the reason they do that is because Muhammad tried to do the same thing according to the historical Muhammad. And so to them, if you ask a Muslim, what's the most important part of your faith for you? They will say, oh, it's the 5 pillars of Islam. To proclaim that there is one God and that Muhammad is his messenger. To pray the 5 daily prayers. To pay alms. To fast. To go on pilgrimage. These actions please God. And they are the central part of what we're supposed to do as Muslims. That's what matters most. So you see, the actions, you're supposed to earn your favor with God is very, very important as a Muslim.
I believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us men about Hur al-Ain, by the way, if you guys know Hur al-Ain, that we're going to have in Jannah, inshallah. Yeah? So the Hur al-Ain we're going to have, you know why? Because if you think about it, guys, 1 second, we'll finish that. Guys, why, guys, Why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us men about Hur al-Ain, and they are described in a very, very specific manner?
Second.
La ilaha illallah. Sister Soul, have mercy on us, please.
Every woman's gonna say that, you know what, I take only 1 day a week, it's fine as long as I have you in my life. But it will never last. And we all know that because every woman will want to have what the other one has.
Okay,
No one likes
okay.
just- that's all I
No,
want.
that's fine. No, there is what we need to wrap up, guys. And not only that, we talked about this in the other episode of polygamy.
Yes.
We discussed this. So today's topic is more about secret second wife.
Yes.
Polygamy, we discussed this. It's going to come out.
I'm talking about the practicality of second wives.
Yes. Maybe we can have another discussion on its own because it's a broad topic and talking about how it's done in a.
I'm talking about the practicality. How
I understand. What I'm saying is, time is running out, sister. Time is running out. Look, we're nearly 2 hours, yeah? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't go into details. But when it comes to the man, bro, very simple. Hur al-Ain, thank you all day, every day, brother. And that's
you
why.
can wait until
That's why.
Ali, I just wanted to say, and this, I think this is the problem.
Can I just finish point?
The way we discuss this thing.
So what I'm saying is this, yeah, but that's why the incentive for a man who's going to war, knowing he's going to die and not come back to his wife, he has the incentive of Hur al-Ain, alhamdulillah, all day, every day.
Yeah.
Dawood with you.
Just
and let's wrap up.
So this is just a disclaimer. Yeah, very quickly, a disclaimer.
Yes, please.
So as a Muslim, I believed what the Quran told me. Jesus did not die on the cross. But Christians think Jesus certainly died on the cross. So this was a good litmus test right here. Which one's true? Which one's false? So I said, I'm going to study Jesus' death on the cross from a historical perspective. I want to see, did he actually die on the cross? And no matter how you look at it, whether you're an atheist, agnostic, Jew, Buddhist, however you look at it, if you're a historian and you're studying the evidence of Jesus' life, you have to conclude that he died on the cross. Every scholar who studies Jesus' life concludes that Jesus died on the cross. In fact, what they say is that if we can know anything about Jesus' life, it's that we know he died on the cross under Pontius Pilate.
God himself, after having created us, knew that we would rebel against him, and indeed, we all rebel against him. And the penalty for separating ourselves from God like that is death. When you sin, you remove yourself from the source of life. When you rebel against God, you're looking at the source of life and saying, I'm walking away from you. And so you incur death for yourself. God enters into this world, dies on our behalf so that we don't have to die and be separated from him. And then he rises from the dead to prove that death has been defeated and to show us what will happen to us. We will rise from the dead one day and be with him. That's the gospel message.
And so I stepped away from the evidence. I said, let me back it up. You know, what I believe truly does matter. I want it to be true. Let me take a look at this. I began to realize that the case for Christianity was very, very strong. But I didn't accept it. And this is hard to explain, but the reason I didn't accept it was because of subconscious factors. There was a lot I would have to give up if I were to become a Christian. I didn't realize this. This wasn't at the tip of my head. But there was a lot I was going to have to give up.